starting off hot. Peter Burns from SEC Network, they were talked before the show started, him and Chris Doring. And I love what he said. He goes, look, is Billy going to go out there? Is he going to win the presser? Absolutely not. But again, he doesn't need to win the presser. I don't want him to win the presser. I think right now, Florida fans, we kind of get frustrated because his pressers are very stale. And it's like, we're not winning on the field, off the field. Like, give us something, Billy. Give us something to be fired up about. And it's kind of talking about the fire with the new release of College Football 25. And to be fair, guys, I almost just said, hey, screw the show. Let's just play for another hour. But I chose not to do that. We've been doing the build the player, and you get certain attributes. You get 85 for elusiveness, 75 on speed, IQ, all these things. Billy, we look at his attributes, right? Steady, humble, very composed in certain situations, which I enjoy. Doesn't get too hot, doesn't get too cold. You look at that killer instinct, that little bar there, it's like a -5. Billy, I need you to take like 3 to 5 weeks of your stars that you stack up and throw some killer instinct. He has to have that ability to step on somebody's throat. And he shows it in that first clip a little bit. He didn't show it in the presser. This is a separate clip from that. But that's what we need to see this year. He's got to quit being the nice guy. It's in a sense you have to stab someone in the back, and not in that like negative form. But even Kirby and Saban, because they have that kind of same composure. Saban does, of course. But they're not afraid to, when their back's against the wall and they're just tired of hearing the same nonsense, call out media, call them rat poison, right? Take a shot here. Say NIL's bad here. They're not afraid to speak their opinion and in a way live on a side. I haven't seen that from Billy, and I don't see it in a presser, but usually how you carry yourself day to day on a presser is going to translate onto the football field. That's what I was hoping to get a little bit of. I think, again, the clip, that first clip I showed, we got a sliver. We may went from -5 to like a 1. Still got a long way to go. Allie?
Yeah, I mean, the things that we like about Napier are the fact that he is so consistent. He is so steady. He follows the plan. He builds brick by brick. But those things are sometimes also frustrating, exactly like you said. Like, we want to see you lose your mind on someone on the sidelines because they got a penalty and they're not doing their job, or that's their second penalty of the game, or whatever else. And we haven't seen that from him. I do think that most national championship winning coaches have that screw loose, have that ability to just, flip on a dime and lose it. I don't know that Billy has it, but I do think that that's a positive in 95% of situations. We just need to see that other 5% a little bit. But I actually thought he did a much better job. I think he's coming around a little bit. He's showing us a little bit more of his personality, and I think that's necessary, right? You want Gator fans to know you and root for you. It needs to be hard to cheer against you. And I don't know that he's given us that previous to the last few months, but I think he's getting a little better at it.
Real quick, Dave, Billy, or even Q Lee says it, Billy can't tell me shit, he's got to show me. And I agree. I think that's where all of us are at. I wasn't going to heading to listen to this presser to be blown away. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to find any reason to get fired up. Let's get there. His presser, in my opinion, was boring. The questions were trash. The follow-up at the SEC Network table were much better. Got a little more out of that, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. They are more personable, more direct questions, not just your basic surface questions. Hey, your schedule's tough. How do you plan to handle that? So we got a little more out of that. Behind the scenes, I'll play a clip where people were asking him after he got off stage on Three Guys. They're asking questions like, hey, are you where you want to be? Which we'll get into in just a moment. But Dave, I'll let you go and we'll keep going. There's a lot to talk about. I love this. So, and I know, Allie, you only have so much time, so we'll get through as best we can. Dave?
Yeah, I figured out that the schedule was up today too, by the way.
We found that out today.
I think with Napier, you're going to get a lot of just, I guess, fodder from him when he talks. I mean, you're going to get the same answer, but you're going to get it in a different form, any presser that he's ever been. And I think really with Napier, he talks about the strength and conditioning and where people, the whole football team has gained 500 pounds of mass across the board. And that's really good to hear. And you hear a lot of good things. And I think what you have to do with Billy is to try to you got to ask good questions. You can't just ask like some of the stuff that these people were asking out there, like the stuff that they asked the panel. We got a little bit more information on Joey Slackman. We'll go over all that. But like, you got to question him for any info that you can get, because you're not going to get really that much out of him. So try to at least get down to like some of the nitty gritties, maybe some individual player stuff, something like that. I didn't really hear a lot of that in this presser. I didn't take away a lot, only because I don't think the questions were that great though either.
Great point. I think the questions have to be very direct for Billy, because if you leave it for an open-ended, he's not going to give you what you want. He's not going to take the bait and make a splash like a Lane Kiffin would have. What I also kind of noticed in Paul Feinbaum, I don't know if I just don't have a tick on his show, like the understanding of it feels very sarcastic a lot of the times. Like he runs it kind of like we run our show, and it's like weird, I guess, to me, just given the fact of the platform that he has. But he was like mad at Eli because Eli Drinkwitz was very serious, kind of like, hey, let's go get it. And Eli knows where they're at, kind of very Kirby-esque of, I'm not here to play games. Lane has always been fun. I always love watching Lane Kiffin's interview. Fortunately, his father just passed, so he's in a much different headspace right now, so we didn't get much lust from him. I'm left with Billy here. I know I'm not getting nothing from this guy, man. It was a very serious business trip, media day, it felt like this week. But Al, you mentioned a point about a screw being loose. And I love like watching the it guys, the Lance Armstrongs, the Michael Jordans, Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps. Like this is my childhood, right? Tom Brady's, David Goggins. These guys are the best of the best in their fields. The one thing that I gather from all of them is they're a little effing crazy. Like they sacrifice something. Like they're legit. There's a screw loose, and like you said, you need that. I believe cold-heartedly to be him. Like you have to function at a weird ass level that nobody understands to be there. And like Billy's relatable and everybody likes him, and it may be because he's an everyday guy.